Hello and welcome to this chess endgame demonstration entitled Improve Your Chess with Active Pieces. And you may ask, well, what do I mean by that? Well, you can just play better chess and improve your chess overall by ensuring that your pieces are more active than your opponents. And how do you do that? Well, you try and place your pieces on squares where they have more mobility. They're not blocked in by your own pawns or other pieces. And you just have more flexibility overall with your pieces when you do that. So if we look at this example here on the board, it is black's turn to move here. And what would you do in this position with black? So it's kind of tricky. The material is even here. So the only major differences are it looks like black has more mobility with his pieces. So, it may look even at first, but we'll soon see here how black gains the upper hand on white by activating his pieces even more and making them even more active. So right now, if we just look at the bishop, black's bishop is attacking. It's kind of limited because of this pawn right here, but his pawns are on the opposite colored squares as his bishop. So he doesn't have to worry about his pawns blocking him in as much. And he's protecting this pawn back here. But the other three are on different colors, so he can maneuver around them easily. And he's also able to attack three of white's pawns, which are on the same color as his bishop. And so his bishop is better than white's. So white's bishop is not very active here. It's just blocked in by his c-pawn. It doesn't have many options. The knight is blocking it in right now. So anyway, if you were black, what would you do in this position to improve your position and make your pieces more active? All right, pause the video if you want more time to think. Otherwise, we'll dive in here and see what black played. All right, the evaluation shows that black is ahead here, and now we'll see how black proceeds. The computer just recommends bishop to c7, attacking this pawn right away, which could be defended by this bishop to e1 possibly. Well, no, that's not even possible because the bishop is protecting the knight. So once again, we see how the pieces are not very active. They're kind of cramped and restricted, and it causes problems. But in this game, black decides to take his least active piece, this knight here, which is not doing as much on the edge of the board, and he jumps it into the middle of the board here, or towards the middle, to c4, attacking the bishop and the knight. So black has to make a decision here on what to do. And so he plays knight, captures knight. If he would retreat here with knight to f1, well, this would lead to problems. We see the evaluation goes even more strongly in black's favor here. So play may continue with the rook attacking. The king would have to protect the knight. But then we have rook captures, king captures, and knight captures. So now we're left with a bishop and a knight versus this lone rook. And in this position, that rook would probably have trouble defending these pawns, and also trying to prevent this f-pawn from moving forward possibly. So the game may continue with king to f2. Let's see. Then the knight could just move up, capture, then a recapture here. And so this is one way the game could possibly play out. where we see now the knight has blocked the rook, and this pawn will fall next, and black should be able to pull this game out and win. So in order to avoid that possibility, if we go back to the beginning, after knight to c4, we have knight captures, pawn captures, and rook captures. So why did black play this little combination here, or this sequence where he gave up his knight and a pawn? Well, this allows black to make his king more active here by attacking the rook. So the rook must move somewhere. He goes to rook to c8. If he instead went to a4 here, well, then the king would just continue to activate, become more active by moving down the board. And we may have something like this where now black is even more ahead and should be winning this game. So white wanted to avoid that variation. So instead of rook to a4, after king to d5 here, he moves his rook up to c8, which is usually good to move your rook as far away from the king as possible and then try to harass it from a distance. And from up here, he can get behind black's pawns, especially these f pawns. All right, so we have the king trying to get more active down into white's position. And then after a check, capture, white jumps in front of this pawn. And in this position, maybe it looks like white could hold, but if we look at the evaluation, we see that white is just losing now. And so how does black finish white off? Well, first he tries to activate his bishop, put it onto a better square. Now it's attacking. And so if we have bishop to f4 in this position, the best move, it looks like, was to retreat. So here, black would not want to capture. So if we played that capture, then we see the game swings in white's favor after a recapture. So black must avoid that. And then here we have, excuse me, I went back too far. So after bishop to f4, the black bishop just retreats back, and now white moves his bishop back, but here we have f4. And so the computer recommends the best move as being b6. So that would be an interesting move there, which would just give up a pawn. So we could take a look at that. But in the game, g takes f4 was played. But if we look at the computer move, which was b6, well, then it recommends capture, capture. So white would have a passed pawn. And then b5. So I don't know. This is an interesting position, but it shows that white is losing here. So, how would this play out? The bishop would move up here. And then, what do we do next? The king would have to move because there's a threatened mate here. So if the king moves, then the check by the bishop is coming, and the queen will promote here. Or the pawn will promote to a queen, excuse me. All right, so anyway, if we go back and see how the game concluded, after g takes f4, bishop to d8 is played. And here, white resigned as the winning move. Well, first of all, there is a threat of a mate right here with bishop to h4. So if some other move was played, bishop to h4 would be a checkmate. And so white would have to respond with this. But then, we could have this or just an immediate capture here. The computer says that this would be the best move, to just capture the bishop and then escort this pawn in for a promotion to queen. All right, so this is just one example of how making your pieces more active than your opponent can definitely win you games, improve your chess overall. So ask yourself, do you try to make your pieces more active? If you don't do that often enough, maybe look at your games and think about that when you're trying to figure out what move to make. If you have a piece that is not placed very well, improve that worst placed piece by making it more active, putting it on a better square, moving a pawn out of its way to give it more scope and mobility. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments or suggestions. And remember to make your pieces more active. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.